Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Help on the Way podcast. I am your host, Fig. Game and I have tried but failed multiple times this week to get together and do this podcast, so it's just going to be a Fig pod. However, along the way, we will have a long and detailed review from our friend JWG3. We have a twofer today. We will be talking about two separate shows that were featured on the Grateful Dead subreddit. The first is from April 26th, 1983. That's at the Spectrum in Philly, PA. The second is October 24th, 1972 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A lot more to talk about in that 83 show just because that 72 show, it had an odd that was barely listenable for the entire show. It had a soundboard that sounded pretty good, but it was just for set 2. So we will jump into April 26, 1983 in just a short moment. Before that, we have our Channel 6 news items. The news, I guess, for the past couple of weeks was GD60. GD60 occurred, and a good time was had by all. I didn't get to listen to too much. I did listen to, I guess, the end of set 1 and the beginning of set 2 on the third night. And of course, that was Trey joined the band, and for a pretty nice Scarlet Fire, which I listened to a couple times and did enjoy. For a further breakdown of GD60, I will wait until we have Game, because I know Game has some things that he wants to say about it. Oh, and Knob will be back shortly as well. So, more Channel 6 news items. If you are a fan of the Jerry Garcia band, we got something from the vault this week. This week we got Live at the Warfield. This is from a string of shows in 1991. I've only heard really good things about it. Kind of upset because I did need something to listen to on Friday while working, and I could have listened to Live at the Warfield as it dropped on Apple Music and in Spotify and everything else. However, I just kind of plumb forgot about it. Okay, GD movie. This is kind of on a personal note. I am going to see the GD movie this evening. So the next time, in IMAX. So the next time that we all talk, we'll have a little bit more to talk about on GD60 and the Grateful Dead movie. All right, on to April 26, 1983, a very good show. This was a Tuesday night. Heater from the Spectrum in Philadelphia, PA. We started set 1 with a Shakedown into a new Minglewood Blues. We get They Love Each Other, Me and My Uncle into Mexicali for the Cowboy set. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. A rarity. West LA Fadeaway, Esau, Roses, and Let It Grow. So I'm going to do I'll do my takeaway from the entire set. And then we'll jump into JWG3, who did leave a lengthy note for us. Okay, so set 1 starts with the Shakedown. I wrote one of the best. They just do incredibly funky, groovy, and cool things throughout this entire Shakedown. From the opening build, it's really the Brent show. Some excellent synth work here. And the interplay between Brent and Jerry is dynamite. And I love Brent's synth sound. And then I wrote, as it gets a little bit later, okay, it's actually the Brent and Jerry show, not just the Brent show. Oh shit, now Phil's going off. There's a moment here where Jerry finds a melody, and somehow Brent not only figures out the melody, but finds the perfect counter melody and tone to turn up the heat even more. This is probably my favorite Shakedown of all time. However, the rest of the set didn't really get me shaking my bones like that Shakedown Street. Minglewood Blues, got some nice pedaling on the bass intro by Phil. Really like Phil's growling bass so far. And he calls the crowd the Philly Phillies start looking good. And they are looking pretty good, rounding into the postseason. We got the Cowboy song, which were pretty manic and wild. Now, maybe this is kind of the closest that the Grateful Dead get to what I would call jock rock. Not yacht rock, but jock rock. Kind of a cheesy, repetitive lick with cheesy, repetitive lyrics. I always think in my head this was the music that Tony Soprano would listen to and like bop around his gigantic SUV. But it's a Brent song, so of course Brent gives it his all, and it just kind of tries to push it somewhere that it's really not. It's an interesting oddity. It doesn't sound like the Grateful Dead. Decent song for classic rock radio, but really nothing more than that. West LA Fadeaway didn't really do much for me until Jerry began absolutely wailing on that first solo. Brother Esau, really enjoyed this one. A nice rhythm, I had just enough religious school training to make the lyrics somewhat intriguing and comprehensible. I'd like to kind of take a deep dive into Esau to see what is actually being talked about. Must have been the Roses I liked. Let It Grow. Really good cinematic version with some excellent playing by Jerry. Blistering fast runs by Jerry throughout. So let me switch over to JWG3. And okay, so he does split it up between the two sets. So a little bit of a note from JWG3. I guess in my weekly thread, I said, holy shit, this Shakedown. JWG3 writes, I'll do you one better, Fig. Holy shit, this entire show. Shakedown was the clear tone setter of just how much the band enjoyed playing the Spectrum. When rock bands talk about that place, they always mention how it treated sound better than your average arena. So it's no surprise how frequently the Dead played there, and I consider it a great honor that my favorite band was the one to close it in Halloween 2009, Pearl Jam. I think I had tickets to those shows, and I got swine flu. I think I talked about that with JW3 on the show. All right. Check out The Matrix by Dave Usborne. All right, set 1, what Fig said to start about Shakedown Street. Bobby brings the heat for those Phillies. Parenthetically, I know the Phillies will get mentioned here, which they did. So it's worth mentioning my Cubbies are coming for your ass in October. Womp womp. Jerry confirms that he's in tip-top shape on They Love Each Other. Wish we got a Big River instead of Mexicali to close out that cowboy suite, but Jerry gets the well-deserved vocal break. That said, I'm really having a moment with me and my uncle lately. Parenthetically, it's appealing to me in the way, say, El Paso appeals to Knobs theater kidness. There you go. And parentheses, maybe you know isn't my favorite Brent tune, but his lead vocals made me smile. Yeah, he gives it his all. West LA Fadeaway and Esau groove successfully. Performance was good, but I had to sidebar for a bit of a hot take on Must Have Been the Roses. Oh, okay. It's one of Hunter's weaker lyrical pieces, in my opinion. Feels like he leaves a bit more to be desired with the versatility of Roses as a metaphor for things, not to mention the first verse delivers the listener the exact same information as the chorus proceeds to. Interesting. Am I crazy? Let me know. I don't know, guys. It's just like she's got ribbons in her hair. I get it. I'll extend the olive branch and say I enjoy it more in Hunter's own musical world than as a Grateful Dead contribution. And that they must have sorted a line before this Let It Grow. That's all I'll say. Jeez. I will mention the Roses thing. Roses is a nice little ditty, nice little kind of boot scooting country tune. Maybe not boot scooting, but like a slow dance of a country's tune. What jazzes me up from Roses, and I think I mentioned this on the show before. I mean, we've been doing this for about 4 years, so I probably have, is the idea that it is a song about a man's, I guess, two lovers, and the woman unfortunately passes away. The man in his grief cannot deal with it and keeps her corpse in his front parlor. And that's the ribbons in her hair. And that's why people don't come around anymore. To me, that is evocative of some Grateful Dead tropes and evocative in my own head. I think it could be explored a little bit more. Might be better for a conversation. I think I've had this conversation with Nob before. The other thing, and then I'll say that this was something that someone mentioned on the Grateful Dead subreddit many years ago, and it was evocative for me. All right, on to set 2 of April 26, 1983. We get a Help Slip Frank, all right. Women Smarter, into drums, into Truckin. We get a Nobody's Fault Jam, into A Morning Dew. We then get a Throwing Stones, into Not Fade Away, and we end things on US Blues. Calling on myself. Okay, so JWG3 thought that Let It Grow was letter C time. I thought that Help on the Way was letter C time. Jerry is practically rapping the lyrics here. It was so fast in tempo. Slipknot was a very tight version. It sounded like they were working very hard to try to get to that dessert of a Franklin's Tower. Excellent version, very poppy and spirited, great breakdown, and then a build up on that Franklin's Tower. Man Smart, again, Brent bringing the funk with that synth. And the funkiness of Shakedown Street is what I'm referencing. Drums in Space, nice little Bo Diddley beat transition into drums, so we know what we're getting in that Not Fade Away that comes up to end the set. Truckin, the band keeps rocking and rolling, bopping and weaving into the standard. Eventually dips into a Nobody's Fault jam that came as a bit of surprise. And just as surprising as it came, it ended or transitioned into a sneaky little Morning Dew. We got some blasé vocals out of Jerry, but some soaring solos out of Jerry. Jerry brings things down very nicely in the doesn't matter anyway part. So good dynamics there. Throwing Stones, worth the listen for the interplay between Brent's synth and Jerry's guitar on the build after the We Are On Our Own section. Lively transition from the Franklins in the Throwing Stones. Lively transition from the I don't know what I'm saying here. From Throwing Stones into Not Fade Away, back to that Bo Diddley beat, lots of energy. And US Blues is how they ended things. So let's just wrap things up with this April 26, 83, and then I'll do a quick little squib of this shorter October 72 show. Would it make my Book of the Dead? It probably would. I really did like this show on multiple levels. However, I'm going to have to pick a set, and I'm going to pick set 1. And the reason I'm going to pick set 1 is entirely due to the strength of that Shakedown Street. I want y'all to listen to that Shakedown Street. It is phenomenal. It's 83 Dead. It is surprising at times, and I love the tone that we're getting from all the players. I like Phil's tone, I like Brent's tone, Jerry's wailing, Bobby sounds great. And the drummer's obviously setting a great backbeat as well. So after this, stay tuned for April 26th, 83. For my other trucker, we're going to keep with Brent. I think I mentioned his name more than anybody. Let's go over to that October 24th, 1972 show from Milwaukee. This is just set 2 because set 1 was an odd, only, and somewhat unlistenable. So we get a Truckin into a drums into the other one. We get a He's Gone, another the other one. So it's kind of a He's Gone sandwich with the other one as the bread. Casey Jones and Johnny B. Good. So Truckin start things off, pretty standard radio version of that song, until we get to the outro, which gets pleasantly exploratory. Drums was short and leads us to the other one, which starts with about 5 minutes of concurrent Jerry and Phil soloing. Things calm down and we get some interesting double stop work from Phil. This leads to Phil soloing with, I wrote Bobby, but I don't know if there's 2 bassists out there. It sounded like 2 bassists were playing back and forth, call and response with double stops. And by double stops, I mean just when a bass plays like 2 notes at the same time, to create like a proto chord, which does sound really good on bass, and it sounded really good tonight. And we get into a 4/4 rock groove with Billy laying down pretty interesting rock groove beat. Yeah, it does make me wonder if there was a second bassist, because there was distinct sounds coming from both. Yeah, I mentioned this. So I don't know exactly what was happening there. I wrote Bobby, but I think it may have been a second bassist. I'd be interested to know what actually happened here. So I like that the other one. We get to a He's Gone, which was good with a nice quick transition back to the other one, kind of to complete the sandwich. Casey Jones, good version with an especially manic build at the end. Finally, we get some Keith rearing his head here on a good jam. And then Johnny B. Good. This was a rocking way to end the set. Some extreme Jerry vibrato, who then ends things with "See y'all later, goodbye." I think that was Bobby. All right. We didn't get anything on that 72 show, so I'm not going to go too much into it. Now, the next show that we feature on the podcast is an interesting one. Why is it interesting? Because it's October 19th, 1974. This show was featured both in the Steal Your Face LP and the Grateful Dead movie. So why is that interesting? Well, the Grateful Dead movie is in theaters right now, and I'm going to see it tonight. And as we know, the spreadsheet that I made about almost 11 years ago is just completely randomized, and lo and behold, it's giving us the Grateful Dead movies show on the week that the Grateful Dead movie is in theater, which is really cool. Really, really cool. Really long set. Starts with a Mississippi half step. We get a Scarlet, but there was no fire just yet, so it goes into To Lay Me Down, which is cool. And apparently, we get an Eyes in that first set. Eyes into China Doll. That Eyes is supposed to be one of the best Eyes ever. There is a half set of Phil and Ned doing some electronic experiments, and then we get a set 2, which brings us Truckin, which gets into a Caution Jam, back into Drums in Space, into a Truckin, Sunshine Daydream. Really cool stuff here. All right, Big Railroad Blues. All right, there's going to be some good stuff to talk about next week. And I get to watch the Grateful Dead play in IMAX. Really cool. All right, so to wrap things up, I want y'all to smash that subscribe button, like and share with all your Grateful Dead loving friends and family, pets, people who don't like the Grateful Dead, just anybody, just please like and share. You can find us wherever podcasts are downloaded, but not Spotify. We kind of dropped that idea once again. You can follow us at our website, which is helponthewaypod.podbean.com. You may email us if you have something to say, or if you want to get on the pod, helponthewaypod@gmail.com. You can find us stickied up there on top of the Grateful Dead subreddit, reddit.com/r/Grateful Dead, which is Reddit's largest Grateful Dead our community. And we are on YouTube as well. It's just an analog of our podcast. But we're up there. It's an easy way to find us. YouTube.com/@helponthewaypod. And Knob's been pretty busy doing her thing on Broadway. But they're on Blue Sky, and just search for us on Blue Sky. And there's Baby Game, who's executive producing Game's way out of things at the moment. So for myself, for my co-hosts, couldn't be there, for Baby Game, I want you to stay tuned for set 1 of April 26th, 1983, pretty much just for that Shakedown jam. And I also want to thank you for listening to another episode of the Help on the Way podcast.
Shakedown Street used to be the heart of town. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Because you missed out on the thing that we had to part. That's too fast. Maybe you had too much 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 too fast. Just overplay your part. Woo! Gotta shake it on Shakedown Street. Be the heart of town. Trouble this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. I wanna say. You can never tell. I recall your darkness when it crackled like a thunder cloud. Ain't got no heart. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. I can hear it beat out loud. Woo! Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Used to be the heart of town. Used to be the heart of town. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Poke around. Poke around. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Just gotta poke around. Poke around. Just gotta poke around. Just gotta poke around. This town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. 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 Shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. This town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. You just gotta poke around. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Used to be the heart of town. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. To this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around. Nothing shaking on Shakedown Street. Just gotta poke around. Used to be the heart of town. Just gotta poke around. Don't tell me this town ain't got no heart. Just gotta poke around.
I was reading in lion's den. Born in a desert, I was reading in lion's den. Well, my number one occupation, stealing women's from their other men. Well, I'm a woman in Texas, Bust the chill and wounded man in Texas. Bust the chill and sure couldn't catch me. But his little girl so sure. Crazy. Someone says I am, someone says I ain't. Doctor called me crazy. Someone says I am, someone says I ain't. Preacher man called me sinner, but his little girl called me a saint. Couple shots of whiskey, women around here start looking good. Couple shots of whiskey, these Philly Phillies start looking good. Couple more shots of whiskey, I'm going down to bingo. for Timothy. T for Texas. Yes, and it's T for Timothy. It's T right here in Philly, where the little girls know what to do. I'm telling the truth. I was born in a desert. I was raised in a limestone. I was born in a desert. I was raised in a limestone. Well, my number one occupation, stealing women from their other men. Do it again. You know, my number one occupation, stealing women from their other men.
the train. Better not be there when it rolls over. When that train pulls in, you won't know where it's been. Got to try to see a little further. They love each other. Lord, you can see that it's true. Lord, you can see that it's true. Lord, you can see that it's true. Lord, you can see that it's true.
Well, me and my uncle went riding down South Colorado, West Texas bound. We stopped over in Santa Fe, that being the point, just about halfway. You know, it was the hottest part of the day. I took the horses up to the stall, went to the bar room, ordered drinks for all. 3 days in the saddle, and you know my body hurt. It being summer, I took off my shirt, and I tried to wash off some of that dusty dirt. West Texas cowboys, they's all around. With liquor and money, they's loaded down. So soon after payday, though it seemed a shame, you know my uncle, he starts a friendly game. Hey, hello, Jack, and when they take the hand. Started winning, Cowboys got sold. One of them called him, then two more, accused him for cheating. Well, I know I couldn't be. I know my uncle, he's as honest as me. Yes, I'm as honest as a Denver man can be. One of them cowboys, he starts a door, so I shot him down, Lord, and he never saw. Shot me another, well, that damn me one goal. In the confusion, my uncle grabbed the gold. Well, he hightailed it down to Mexico. And all of them cowboys, all of that gold. Lord, my uncle, God rest his soul. He taught me good, Lord, and he taught me all I know. Taught me so well. Well, I got that gold. And I left his dead ass there by the side of the road. back in an old saloon with an Esau in my hand, watching flies and children on the street. And I catch a glimpse of black-eyed girls that giggle when I smile. This little boy, and he won't shine my feet. And it's 3 days ride from Bakersfield, and I don't know why I came. I guess I came to keep from paying dues. So instead I've got a bottle and a girl that's just 14, and an empty case of the Mexicali blood. Hey, is there anything a man don't stand to lose? When the devil wants to take it all away, cherish well your thoughts, keep a tight grip on your blues. Just thinking and thinking out all I have today. Well, said her name was Billie Jean, and she was fresh in town. I didn't know a stage line ran from hell. She had a raven hair, a ruffled dress, a necklace made of gold, all the French perfume you'd care to smell. She took me up into her room, whispered in my ear, "Go on, my friend, do anything you choose." Now I'm paying for those happy hours I spent there in her arms, with a lifetime's worth of the Mexicali blood. Hey, is there anything a man don't stand to lose? When the devil wants to take it all away, cherish well your thoughts, keep a tight grip on your blues. Just thinking and thinking on all I have today. Billie Jean was waiting when he came. She told me he would take her if I didn't use my gun. I'd have no one but myself to blame. I went down to those dusty streets, blood was on my mind. I guess that stranger hadn't heard the news. 'Cause I shot first and killed him, although he didn't even draw. And now I spent my lifetime running with the Mexicali blood. Yeah. Is there anything a man don't stand to lose? When he lets a woman hold him in her hair, you just might find yourself out there on horseback in the dark, just riding and running across those desert sands. Hey.
Have you ever wanted something? Wanted it so burning bad that you lie, that you cheat, that you fight in the street, chances than the little you had. Maybe you know how I'm feeling. Maybe you know how I feel. Maybe you know how I'm feeling. But baby, to you, it just don't seem so real. Time is only wasted on talking that it's taking light. When it all comes down to really covering ground, I know I'll get more done tonight. Maybe you know how I'm feeling. Maybe you know how I feel. Maybe to you. I've been hearing for a long time. I still hear about some kind of long-term plan. Well, I ain't getting younger, just time I wonder. I was promised a rock, and I only see sand. Maybe you know how I'm feeling. Maybe you know how I feel. Maybe to you. Maybe to you. It don't seem so real. So personally, it's only one way to make it today, and I'm doing all I can for me. Maybe you know how I'm feeling. Maybe you know how I feel. Maybe you know how I'm feeling. But maybe to you, it just don't seem so real. looking for a chateau. 21 rooms, but one will do. I'm looking for a chateau. 21 rooms, but one will do. I don't wanna buy it, I just wanna rent it for an hour or two. I made an old mistake walking down the street today. I made an old mistake walking down the street today. I didn't want to think about it. Lord, I didn't have one good word to say. West LA fade away. West LA fade away. Big red light on the highway, little green light on the freeway. Steady jump, all in items for the mob. I had a steady jump, all in items for the mob. The pay was pathetic. It's a shame those boys can't be more copacetic. And they're still there, girl. I already know what I need to know. I mean, the West LA girl. Already know what I need to know. My name, address, and phone number. Lord, and just how far to go. West LA fade away. West LA fade away. Big red light on the highway, little green light on the freeway. looking for a chateau. 21 rooms, but one will do. I'm looking for a chateau. 21 rooms, but one will do. Don't wanna buy, I just wanna rent it for a minute or two. West LA Fadeaway, West LA Fadeaway. Big red light on the highway, a little green light on the freeway. Big red light on the highway, a little green light on the freeway. Big red light on the highway, a little green light on the freeway.
Brother Esau killed a hunter back in 1969. And before the killing was done, his inheritance was mine. But his birthright was a want to wave before a weary band. Esau gave me sleeplessness and a piece of moral land. My father favored Esau, who was eager to obey all the wild commandments the old man shot his way. But all his favor ended when my brother failed at war. He staggered home, found me in the dark. Esau, he's on roller skates today, selling real estate to someone in LA. Yet sometimes at night I dream there's still that hairy man, shadow boxing the apocalypse and wandering the land. Shadow boxing the apocalypse and wandering the land. Esau holds a blessing, brother Esau holds a curse. I would say that the blame was mine, but I suspected something worse. The more my brother looks like me, the less I understand the silent war that bloodied both our hands. Yet I dream he's still that hairy man. Sometimes at night I more feel than understand. Shadow box in the apocalypse, and wandering the land. Shadow box in the apocalypse, wandering the land, wandering the land. Shadow box in the apocalypse, wandering the land.
Down in the roses, she had ribbons, ribbons, ribbons in her long brown hair. I don't know, maybe it was the roses. All I know, I could not leave her there. 10 years the waves roll the ships home from the sea, thinking, well, how it may blow in all good company. If I tell another what your own lips told to me, let me lay neath the roses that my eyes no longer see. I don't know, it must have been the roses. The roses, all the ribbons in her long brown hair. I don't know, maybe it was the roses. All I know, I could not leave her there. One pane of glass in the window, no one is complaining though. Come in and shut the door. Faded is the crimson from the ribbons that she wore, And it's strange how no one comes round anymore. I don't know, it must have been the roses. Roses, all the ribbons in a long brown hair. I don't know, maybe it was the roses. All I know, I could not leave her there. Roses, all the ribbons in a long brown hair. I don't know, maybe it was the roses. All I know, I could not leave her there.
Morning comes, she follows the path of the river shore. Lively sun, her song is the light on the morning star. See the sun sparkle in the reeds, silver beams pass to the sea. She comes from the town where they call her the woodcutter's daughter. She's brown to the bank where she kneels down to gather her water. And she bears it away with the love that the river has taught her. Let it flow, wide and clear. Round and round, the cut of the plow in the furrowed field. Seasons round, the bushels of corn and the barley meal, broken down, whooping and beckoning to the spring, back to live again. Climbing as broad as the back of the land, he's sowing as he dances the circular track of the plow, ever knowing that the work of his days measures more than the planting and growing. Let it grow, greatly. What shall we say? Shall we call it by name? Rolling out the angels dancing on a pin. Water bright in the sky for what you can. Demons on the earth that takes it in. When I think it's stand inside the rain, school began. Nothing more, the love of the women, the work of men. Seasons round, creatures great all up and down, as they rise and fall. shall we call it by name? Roller counts the angels dancing on the field. Water bright as the sky from which you came. Fingers on the earth and takes it in. When I speak, which counts inside the rain. You feel it under the shout. I am, I am, I am. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Everybody hang on.